A soaring vulture is a hovering spectre of death. We tend to see these scavengers as vile butchers. However, without them, without their keen vision and their taste for putrefying flesh, the savannah would be an enormous cesspit. We may think of vultures as repulsive opportunists, but that makes them no less vital to the ecological balance of the African plains. Serengeti National Park in Tanzania, a paradise for herbivores. It's home to 1.5 million wildebeest and hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles. Every year, nature wipes out a good number. Only 30% of young wildebeest survive their first year. Of course, predators are on hand to aid the process of natural selection. But the major causes of death among wildebeest are natural disasters, epidemics, and disease. All the inhabitants of the savannah are interdependent, and their fates continually cross. The three key elements of an ideal ecosystem are all in place: grass, wildebeest that eat the grass, and carnivores that eat the wildebeest. The only thing missing from this picture is the very last link in the chain, the vulture. Once irrigated by the rains, the Serengeti is rich grassland. But the dry season that begins in late April transforms it into desert, and the wildebeest are forced to migrate north to the Kenyan reserve of Masai Mara, where there is never a shortage of water. Through the middle of these grassy plains runs the river Mara, the natural frontier between Tanzania and Kenya. It is also a major obstacle to the wildebeest on their trek to the grazing lands. The great annual wildebeest migration gives rhythm to the life of the Masai Mara. It brings a promise of abundance for predators and scavengers which have not eaten their fill for months. The vultures settled on the lands around the river Mara are waiting for their booty. Ruppel's griffon vultures, African vultures, and lappet-faced vultures have gathered with a common purpose. Rather than waste their energy flying to and fro above the savannah, they wait for sighting reports from those patrolling at 300 meters above ground level. These lookouts are also valuable informants for predators and other scavengers. By closely observing their flight path, they too can precisely locate a carcass. The spotted hyena, the vulture's main rival. It is also the best equipped scavenger of them all. Its jaws can grind the bones of elephants, and its digestive system allows it to swallow anything. It is also an accomplished hunter. Even the lappet-faced vulture, the largest and strongest of all the species in Africa, would not defy a hyena for long. Its greatest asset is its extremely powerful beak, strong enough to strip flesh from the toughest carcass and even to disembowel an intact corpse. No other vulture is capable of carrying out such an operation. The problem for these professional scavengers is that an abandoned kill belongs to nobody. And as finders are not keepers, everyone can stake a claim. Jackals are often the first to claim their dues. Even when picking at a carcass that is little more than a skeleton, the animals remain guarded. The Mara Savannah has gone without rain for 3 months. Weak from hunger, the carnivores prowl, ready to tangle with all comers in order to pinch a few scraps from the feast. As live prey is scarce, even lions must make do with carrion. The vultures have spotted a giraffe carcass. Alerted by their flight, this group of hyenas hurries to the designated spot. In periods of abundance, a desiccated carcass like this would not interest anyone. But during the months when food is scarce, even the slightest scraps are welcome. Hyenas are perhaps more adept at keeping the leftovers to themselves than all the other carrion eaters, and they certainly have their techniques for dislodging the first arrivals. Vultures, jackals and hyenas vie with each other, each taking its share where it can, using the tools at its disposal: razor beaks, serrated teeth, or grinding jaws. In the end, each manages to get enough to ease its hunger a little. Herds of wildebeest are making their way towards the river. Soon the ground will carry the muffled sound of their approach to the carnivores, signaling the end of their wait. It's the sound of the largest land migration on Earth. Several vultures have already taken up strategic positions. Soon there will be hundreds. But waiting nearby is an even more ferocious beast, one the Maasai call Lord of the River. Its camouflage allows it to go largely unnoticed, but when the time comes, it will exact a heavy toll from the horde passing through its domain. For crocodiles, the wildebeest migration is the major event of the year. They exist on meager rations for months and are well prepared when the herds finally arrive. It is now late August. The wildebeest have been on the march for 4 months. They are exhausted and emaciated, but almost at the end of their journey. The scavengers are waiting. Green pastures lie ahead, but so does the final ordeal, fording the River Mara. The wildebeest converge on the river. Several thousand are already massing on the banks, awaiting the moment when the more fearless among them will take the plunge. Sensing that the critical moment is near, African vultures and Ruppel's griffon vultures have descended to a lower altitude. The wildebeest seem programmed to obey an impulse to carry on their journey come what may. Some break their backs leaping from the steep banks, but it doesn't seem to matter. What matters is to keep going. This is the last step of their long journey. They must make one last effort to reach the opposite bank without drowning or being swept downstream by the current. Once across, getting out of the river is just as dangerous. After hundreds have passed, the muddy rocks offer little grip to their hooves. The late arrivals are just as helpless. This young wildebeest has been left behind by the herd. Unable to decide whether to attempt the crossing alone, it heads back the way it came. On the other bank, those that were injured during the crossing stand no chance of survival. Even if they manage to steer clear of lions and hyenas, they will die from starvation or exhaustion, and the vultures will mop up the remains. The same goes for the carcasses that drift downstream. This crossing, however, has left few casualties, so the vultures and other scavengers will have to wait for the next one.